All right, here's another one of these informal proofs. So we're gonna kind of start it out the same way we did the last one and see where that leads us. So first we know that angle 1 is complementary to angle 2. So that means that angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 90 degrees. All right, then we are given that angle 3 is complementary to angle 4. So if they're complementary, angle 3 plus angle 4 equals 90 degrees. And we also know that angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. I'm going to come back to that one in a minute. What we have to prove is that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. So we want to go ahead and get angle 1 by itself. So similar to the last example, let's subtract angle 2 from both sides so that we have angle 1 is equal to 90 minus angle 2. And then you can see we want angle 3 by itself for what we have to prove. So we're going to get this angle 3 by itself. We can do that by subtracting angle 4. So we have angle 3 is equal to 90 minus angle 4. All right, so in the last example, these two were the same and it kind of helped us out. But you can see that they're not exactly the same. Angle 1 is 90 minus angle 2, and the other one is 90 minus angle 4. This is where we're going to bring in the fact that angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. Because angle 2 is congruent to angle 4, that means that this angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. Basically, they are both 90 minus that same value. So these don't look exactly the same, but we can conclude that they are the same because we know that angle 2 and angle 4 are congruent. So our statement that we can make, we were trying to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. And our reason, basically if angles are complementary to congruent angles, that's what we have right here. These two angles, angle 1 and angle 3, are complementary to these congruent angles, angle 2 and angle 4, then that means that they are also congruent. So we're just going to write that as, we're going to abbreviate and that theorem comes from our intro video. If angles are complementary to congruent angles, then they are congruent. So congruent theorem. And that's what we had up here. Angles that are complementary, so 90 degrees, to congruent angles, angle 2 and angle 4 are congruent. So we get to use that handy little theorem.